cutting width or knife adjustment is one thing that is a little harder to grasp. But what I want to do is explain what the difference is. So it's not necessarily how wide of a stitch that you're going to get. What I'm pointing out right here is that we've got some gaps between the edge of the denim fabric and the edge of the overlock. Some even worse down here. So people often say, oh no, my fabric's hanging off, or my loops, there's loops hanging off the edge. Well, all we have is that when our knife was set, it was set too close to the needle, so it was cutting off more fabric than it needs to fill in the overlock stitches. So what we need to do is move the knife. So what we can do is actually see inside here with the adjustment. So this knob will move the knife left and right. So further away would leave more fabric inside that area. Now it was around 2 when we were doing that, or actually it was actually down to 1. I was trying to get it to really hang off the edge for you. So back at 2, the knife is moved just a little bit away from the needles, and that would leave more fabric to be filled in this area. On the flip side, you can get too much fabric. So if you were all the way out here at 3, see how much distance you have? If you try to leave too much fabric in here, then the fabric doesn't lay flat. It almost starts to tunnel. You can kind of see a little dip. It also will make your tensions, let me see, yep, right here. See how that tension or the loops look like they're spaced differently? That's the fabric trying to squeeze out of that area because there's just too much. It's just too full. And so it's bulging out and it spreads the stitches. So if you ever see where your stitches aren't nice and even, that would be another reason to check your knife adjustment and just bring it in just a little bit, enough so it will cut more fabric off and leave a flat edge. So when you feel this edge, it shouldn't be bubbly or bumpy. It should be nice and flat. So actually, there's nothing really wrong with this particular stitch. Yes, I can kind of see through the stitches, but it actually is nice and flat. So to make this prettier, just bring the knife a little bit further out to the right, which would be to a higher number, and then stitch again and see if you have made that perfect. Every fabric is going to handle a little bit differently, so that's why there's not preset settings for the knife. But for you, if you want to just leave it at 2, start in the middle, and then adjust based on your thickness of fabric that you're working with, if it needs to be more or less.